doorbell at Jimmy's house. Now, when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Hello, people. Welcome to the People's Weekly. Hello, people. People's Week. That's a lot of peoples. I'm here with Canadian Glenn. And
Hola.
It's February 1st. And there's not... You have terrible news for the view up here for this month, right?
Well, I will say that I had a great show this last Wednesday. We'll start with that. This is the bait and switch. I had a great show last Wednesday with Canadian freelance journalist, activist, mom, organizer, rowdy lady, Nora Loretto. Talked about a lot of good shit. I got a lot of immediate positive feedback, which is a little unusual. Usually it takes, a day or two, but it's a lot of immediate feedback. It was all good. So that was right on. But, there will be no The View Up Here for the month of February. The simplest way to explain it is...
Wait. They're in shock right now. Give them a second to catch their breath back. Go ahead now.
Well, the last thing I ever want to do, not just for listeners, but because of me, I can't half-ass The View Up Here. So if I'm not going to have time to put in, to do shows that I'm comfortable with, that are, a certain level, then I'm not going to do a show. Let's see. How can I compare this? I don't do remakes.
You're not.
Let's put it that way.
The View Up Here is the People's Weekly. That's what you mean.
No, it's just that, if I can't even do a show that I feel I'm half prepared for, because everybody will be able to tell just listening to me, It's not something I can't bullshit my way through most of the time. So other shit I have to attend to, and that's the priority. That's all there is to it. So everybody gets a break.
Everybody gets a break. We all suffer through February. So your Wednesday nights are free, and we don't know what to do with them now. So what's coming up after February? What's like the first show in March going to be?
Yeah, that's a serious question.
All right. People's Radio is doing absolutely nothing new. I'm still... I ran through the Music to Riot 2 mix and screwed up royally, and I forgot to record and do some other stuff. Hey, Stuart. So yeah, I'm still working on that. It'll be out soon, real soon. I'm just it's just a lot of tragedies hit, and the mix took some time. So there's stuff coming just very soon. I just don't know exactly when. We'll have to do something on Wednesdays, like maybe I'll release the mix next Wednesday at 6 p.m. or something, so the people won't be devastated all the way. You want to start now? That we went through all the announcements in such a professional manner.
As usual.
Yeah. All right. First topic. Sarah Huckabee Sanders went on the Christian Broadcasting Network and said that God himself wanted Donald Trump to become president. This is dangerous. Why is this dangerous?
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it depends on which side of the fence you're on. Because in my opinion, it's not dangerous. It's just a joke. But yes, considering we're talking about America, it is dangerous. I mean, this is the kind of thing that world media always likes to say why Iran is so evil. It's because it's a theocracy. It's ruled based on their holy book. It's not based on reality and law and rights. And that's bad. But yet, here's that. I thought she was fucking quitting at the end of the year anyway. Why is she anywhere? Go away.
No, nobody would hire her, I think, is the story I heard.
Well, who cares? You quit. Fuck off. Leave. but, and yet here it is, talking about doing the exact same thing. No, it's not because he's qualified or he's smart, because we know those aren't true. So it's because God wanted him to be president. That's like they don't even get away with saying that in Iran because it's too far.
Turkey, they kind of come close, maybe.
Well, according to Erdogan, yeah, not God.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just, it's idiocy. It's a rapid transit to the past. And it just tells me how morally bankrupt. They got nothing to say other than God. That's it. Why is Trump president? Please see Sky Ferry. Next.
She's not the first person to say stuff like that, though. There's been like preachers that said it. There's been this random Trump cult members that have said it. I think it's dangerous because if you think that this guy is put into office by God himself, and that's your final authority, then there's pretty much nothing he can do wrong, according to the people that believe that. You know what I mean? And that's insane. That's really insane.
But that's part of the purpose of using this analogy is because, what percentage of the American public believe that God runs everything? So it doesn't matter if Trump just pissed you off, taking shit away from you, and if you are considering maybe not voting for him, remember, God said he's the man. That's what this is all about. They're just looking for the people who are dumb enough to not think on their own and keep them under wraps. Well, I mean, the Christian Broadcasting Network. Well, fuck, it's sheep TV. So,
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like where was God when all these other presidents were in office? Did he choose any of them? All of them? Just some of them? How do they know?
Well, that's not part of the story. You're not supposed to talk about that.
But first of all, you got to realize God didn't choose the black dude just in front of him. Somebody else chose that. No one knows who. Probably voters. But it had nothing to do with God, according to these people.
Or was it Satan?
I didn't think about that. That's funny.
Well, that's what they're... Exactly. That's what they don't say in public. But, I mean, in their mindset, it's obvious. If God put in the orange shit stick, then it had to be Satan that put Obama in.
You say
what else could it be?
Church lady.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's just really way out. Like, I don't know. Like, who told him this? Like, where did... I mean, and you also... Like, who told Sarah Huckabee Sanders that God wanted Trump to be president? First off. Second off, doesn't that mean that whatever he does, she's going to back it because she's doing the Lord's work when she goes out there and lies to the people and sitting there like, look, and just says some random thing that doesn't answer the question? Is that because she's working for God and she has to do it no matter how she feels about it? Does that make her feel better about her job that she's working for God? I don't understand that.
Well, no,
isn't one of the 10 Commandments, you shall not bear false witness, you shall not lie, and all this and that. Liars shall have no part of the kingdom, blah, blah. Isn't that all in the book?
Well, that's in the parts of the book that we don't use. That's for other. That's to keep everybody else in line. We don't have to deal with that shit. We're above that. But this whole thing about I just don't get it. I mean, what the fuck does it say in your Constitution? Separation of church and state. So, I mean.
Well, that kind of goes right out the window if God says he doesn't want to separate it, right?
There you go.
Who are these founding fathers to go against God himself? Yeah, it
Yeah,
just
well,
puzzles me. What is God wants and what God doesn't want according to these people?
whoa. Oh, okay. I thought you dropped for a second there.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I'm curious if there's ever, like in the picture of the dogs playing pool, it's like, that's America, that's like one of the most reprinted fake paintings ever. The stupid dogs playing pool. I just wonder if anybody's ever made one with like the Last Supper, where Christ sits at the center of the table, and then to his both sides for his apostles, we have the founders of the U.S. Constitution. Instead of all the apostles, we'd have Washington and Franklin and Jefferson. Like, I would expect that to be available somewhere because this is what they're selling.
So you're gonna have them sitting in between a bunch of murderers and rapists, basically.
Well, sure, whatever. That's the narrative. Don't ask questions. Just use your eyes, not your brain.
Do you realize the forefathers of this country could have belonged to MS-13?
Wouldn't it be MS-10 back then?
No, 13 stands for South Side.
Yeah. Actually, 13 colonies. You may be on to something here.
Oh, man.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's crazy.
Holy.
Yeah, I mean,
that's Alex Jones.
And maybe some, I assume, were good people, but who knows? I haven't found one. Oh, Stewart said it wasn't God, it was aliens that appointed Trump. Yeah, those pesky. I wonder if they were those lizard shape-shifting, like the Queen and all them. I bet that's what it was.
Well, I'd like to know how these Mexicans got the ability to do that then. You said they were aliens.
No, he's talking about... You're on the wrong subject. He was saying Trump was put in by aliens. Aliens wanted Trump to be president, not God. That's what he said. I don't think that had to do with MS-13 being aliens. But that's what Space Force is for. I don't think Trump has mentioned that. It's because there's illegal aliens coming from outer space, and he's got to stop that. So we're going to build a great wall on the top side of the U.S.
Because they don't stay at Trump properties.
Yeah, not the northern side, the top, like over us. When you look up, you'll see the wall. It'll be dark all the time. Oh, he says the lizards didn't appoint Trump. They appointed Theresa May.
That's a whole nother train wreck there.
Yeah, so that's just a dangerous thing for these people because you have these whack jobs that believe that. And there's preachers that preach that from the pulpit to people that believe anything they say.
Well, I mean, I think the other thing, again, it's natural to kind of not look at it this hard, but people can say whatever the fuck they want, There are lines that you cross where it becomes hate speech in a lot of places. Some places it doesn't. But still, the biggest issue for me is you see reports of this, and it's like there's no ridicule in it at all. Nobody mentions the Constitution. Nobody mentions anything to tell people that this is not good. This is not what the rules say. None of that. You know? I mean,
Yeah. Why?
that's the problem I have. It goes uncontested. It's just, this is what happened. Well, why? Don't let it happen. It shouldn't be happening.
Well, that was what I was thinking immediately when I first saw it. I was like, why is Sarah Huckabee Sanders on the Christian Broadcasting Network? Like, we are supposed to have a separation of church and state. She's the press secretary for the President of the United States. You know what I mean? Why would she be on there? That doesn't even make sense. They don't have any real news on there. They don't have any kind of... It's just all one-sided fairy tale fantasy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Why would she even give that show the time of day to show up? I mean, we know why. We know that's their base, and she's going to hype up the voters, and God chose Trump, and blah, blah. Let's all go vote in 2020 and get this criminal back in office. Because they're going to kill babies. The day before they're born, they're going to cut off their heads. Yeah, I mean, it's way out.
Well, again, I mean, we're talking about Trump, and the bottom line is OPM, other people's money. So, I mean, it's getting all these Jesus crackers to give up their money for a man that God selected. So that's another thing about this. How could you not give money to a man that God put in office to take care of us? It's so monetarily focused, and there's not one word about that in any of the reports anywhere.
It's like George Carlin said, there's this giant old guy in the sky, and he just really needs money. He needs your money.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's right.
here let's we can connect these, because the second topic we're going to talk about is really related. There are quite a few bills trying to be pushed through government right now for public schools to teach Bible literacy or Christian indoctrination to kids in schools. That's really, it's not going to teach it's not a religion class where they're like, oh, we're going to just teach you all these religions and say that none of them are really real, but it's what some people believe. They're not going to do that. They're going to teach one religion over the others, and I think it's safe to assume that it will be taught as science and fact, not as you're learning an old book. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be for literary purposes. It's going to be more for they're going to teach it as fact and science and blah blah blah. I think that's dangerous too, because now you have all these kids. If any of these bills pass, I think was there one that already went through in the South, or are they just already doing that? I'm not sure. But yeah, you got these kids, and they're going to be the next generation of these people that say this president was chosen by God to be in office. Who are we to say anything? We just must back him. When you start them that young, anything they're told about that, they're going to believe it throughout their lives. You
mean like North Korea?
It's a different deity.
But it's the exact same thing.
Well, at least they're a deity they can see.
Yeah, but I mean, still, it's the exact same thing. The Kims, God said they need to run the country. There's really no difference.
Gods.
Okay, you're buying in too much, but I mean, this is the ground floor level of establishing a theocracy. That's what this is. And this is the thing that the U.S. is against everywhere in the world to all these countries who won't suck American dick.
Well, the other countries have the wrong religion behind their theocracy too, correct?
Yeah, different packaging, yeah. But, I mean, the hypocrisy is just it's indescribable. It's mundane. The hypocrisy is so far, it's mundane now. And that's a problem. But I mean, isn't this the shit that the Kennedy administration and the Johnson administration fought to get out of public education? And that's getting close to 50 years ago. And now these clowns want to put it back in. Wow.
Yeah, because they made America not great. Now they're going to make it great again, right?
But I mean, this is similar to something I talked about with Nora last Wednesday. And yet, supposedly, this millennial generation is coming into control of the economy and elections, and they're supposed to be the most educated generation ever. And yet, they're too busy watching Fortnite or playing PS4 to fucking vote. And we're going backwards in a hurry. You know, it's so conflicting. It's so paradoxical what's happening right now. It's almost like the powers that be know that the game's almost up, so floor it. And they're getting away with it.
The jig is up. I feel like that was a personal attack on me with the PS4 thing, Glenn. I'll let it slide.
Well, you can play it all you want. Just don't play it, you know, when there actually is something more important to do. That's all. That's what I was getting to.
Okay. Because that hurt me really bad. I feel. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know where these people get off thinking that that's a good idea. If you took any other religion and said we're going to teach this to kids in school, they'd flip out like you wouldn't believe it.
That's it exactly. I was just going to say, you know, you see this shit every once in a while. Sharia law. Sharia law. Well, how do you think you sell that shit? You do it this way. You teach the Quran as truth to elementary school children. And there's a right answer on the test and there's a wrong answer on the test. So guess what kids learn? That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
You know, that's how Sharia law gets compliance over time, because people are educated that that's what the rules are. This is no different. This is starting the same shit. But, you know, America.
Yeah, I think there's some states where something like that could pass. And there's a lot of states where it wouldn't. I don't think it's going to become a federal thing. But it's still tragic for whatever states it passes in.
Yeah, it's not really federal jurisdiction anyway. I mean, no matter which way they went on that issue, they'd be pushing their constitutional limits. You know?
Yeah, you always have people. Well, there are. I mean, you have a bunch of watchdog groups out there watching for stuff like this, and a lot of them do these ridiculous stunts to which are funny, but to try to make a point. Like, if you're gonna have the 10 Commandments in front of a court, and you're gonna have a picture, you're gonna have a statue of Satan up there too, or something. Or you're gonna have a prayer in front of a meeting, then we could pray to any deity we choose. And they do it's and everyone wants to go pray to some random deity. Some of them are even made up. And that's the funny thing. It's like, and then they get all mad. Like, there was one council meeting where all these dudes did their prayer, their Christian prayer. Then some other dude came and said, I'm going to pray to nature. And they got up and walked out. They walked out on someone else's Muslim thing, like this is a mockery or something. But
there's that
mockery during their religious prayer. You know what I mean?
There's that tolerance Jesus taught about.
Hey, you should turn the other cheek. He didn't say don't walk out when you turn.
Unbelievable, man. But I mean, you know, to me, this is the exact same attitudes and behaviors that they accuse all these radical Muslim countries of doing. So what's the difference?
Stuart's in the chat asking, he says, I wonder how kids would suggest, oh, I'm sorry. He said, I wonder how kids would digest that class versus how kids 50 years ago would have done. Because, yeah, I mean, that's a valid question because now they have the internet. They have access to all kinds of information they didn't have back then. I mean, they're kids, though, too, so they take it. But I think they would have a chance to, Nix is in the chat. Hey, Nix. I think they'd have more of a chance now than 50 years ago to debunk it.
But like I said, if you're Marx in school, depend on you going along with what you're being told, what are you going to do? I mean, I came across that a lot of times in school. I know this is the wrong fucking answer, but this is the answer that I get credit for. So, okay.
Yeah, that's true. It's forced on them either way.
I mean, you said that even if this starts to happen, kids now have access to this, that, and the other. Well, they may have the capability. It doesn't mean they have the access. Because in states where this stuff is going to go through, how many of the parents want this to happen? I mean, this isn't like a Wisconsin thing where the legislature is doing something that nobody agrees with. There's got to be some sort of consent to get this done. You're talking about Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Carolinas, Georgia.
Yeah.
There's obviously people who are down with this sort of thing. So,
but you would hope there'd be that one or two parents in the class that like, hell no, we're not putting up with this. We're gonna fight this in court. However, we got to do it. But in those little towns, you're right. In places like that, they're mocked, they're ostracized. All of society goes against them.
It fucks their kids up at school.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a big thing that really not a lot of people think about unless they have kids in public education, even private education these days. Everybody can think back to what it was like when they went to high school, when they were new. It's not easy. Imagine what it's like now. I wouldn't want to do it now. No thanks.
Now you got social media.
Oh, God, exactly.
I can pictures with their tongues out looking in a mirror.
I can remember when I went to high school, and if there was a message you wanted to get to somebody, sometimes you had to tell somebody in one class because they had a class with the person you wanted the message to get to. So it could take a whole fucking day to get like 2 sentences to another person.
Why don't you just text them?
Didn't exist, man.
You know, have a time machine?
No.
Oh, no, that explains it. Never mind.
Sorry. See, you have to remember, when I went to high school...
You must have been poor growing up if you didn't have a time machine.
Yeah, I got leased.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
When I went to grade 10, we had a students' smoking lounge inside the school. And the school had about 2,200 students at that time. And in recesses and at lunch, it could hold 600 people. So, I mean, that's how long ago it was that I went to high school.
I wonder if they ever even had that here. I've never heard of a student smoking lounge. I mean, in college maybe, not in high school. Wow. I wonder if they ever had that in the United States. I've never heard of it.
Oh, it was interesting. But it didn't last long. And then by the time I left high school, the next year, what used to be the smoking lounge was the first computer lab. So that tells you how fast things change.
Well, yeah. Technology does move swiftly.
And back then it was CRTs and daisy wheel printers and all that high-tech shit.
Oh man, those dot matrix printers were awesome.
And quiet. And they never broke down.
No, but I mean, think about it. It's nice just to be able to run a strip of paper through like that goes on forever.
It's
and
kind of
then
like
you
toilet paper.
and then to be able to use it later, you have to pull off the sides, and it always rips the paper because it had those holes in it.
Yeah. Well,
Dot
yeah.
matrix, those were the days.
But that was the only way to feed paper. It had to be holes and the pins on the daisy wheel. So,
Yeah, I think some
couldn't do.
people like Stuart here might still have that technology for the 8-bit art and all that stuff, which is pretty awesome. It's like vintage collector stuff now.
Oh, yeah. I think I read not too long ago that like a mint telex machine sold for like 200 grand.
Wow,
Yep.
that's crazy. It's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much
like,
worthless, you know what I mean, to the majority of the world, but to the person it's worth something too. It's worth a whole lot.
well, it's a piece of history.
Yeah.
It's like having an Edsel. Still not a good car, never was, but it's an Edsel.
That's
It had its day.
oh man. You want to move on? Anything else about God and Trump and religious literacy before we move on? Is that a no?
Are you back?
Yeah, you didn't hear me? Glenn, are we disconnected? Okay, well we might. Yep, we just got disconnected for the people listening. Um, Glenn, are you there? Give me 1 second, I'll get Glenn back. Whoa, that was loud. So, once again, we're having technical difficulties. We're calling Glenn back up. We'll see if he answers. Thank you, Stuart. You can hear me and not Glenn. I don't seem to be able to get Glenn on here. Hmm. Okay, Glenn said his Skype went down. He's back up now. So I'm going to try him one more time. Sorry about this, guys. Whoa.
What the fuck?
There you are. So yeah, Stuart said he could have heard me and not you. I was just asking you before the madness. Do you want to move on, or do you have anything else about religious literacy or God choosing Trump?
Oh, wow, you missed all that? Oh, okay. I said, no, we
Oh,
went from God chose Trump to daisy wheels. Yeah, that's a big enough tangent.
Glenn, you're really, really loud and you're not on the right channel. Let's see what's going on here.
Okay.
So yeah, well let's move on while we do this. These two, well, no, that's not it. In California alone, hate crimes are on the rise. They're up over 13% since 2016. Just this week, an Armenian school had Turkish flags hung all around it, and a Jewish school had anti-Semitic graffiti painted on it. Why are these racist slash bigots becoming so bold, and what could be done to stop it?
Is it fixed?
No, I'm working on it, but I assume we can both be heard, but just not really great. So
Okay.
I'll get it fixed in a second. That's what I'm working on now.
Because it's being normalized. That's why. It's there are fine people on both sides. It's a lot more okay. Again, I'll say look at the Kennedy administration and the Johnson administration. 50 years ago, going right back, all the way back. My volume is low.
Your volume sounds high to me. Oh, so Glenn's volume is low. I'm trying to get Glenn on the right channel here. He just doesn't seem to want to pop on where he's supposed to go.
Imagine that.
Hmm.
Yeah, let me see. Well, my Skype settings, as complex as they are, say everything looks all right. So it's got to be on that little board.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Uh,
No, you're
I
just
don't
not
know.
you're just not coming through the right channel, so I don't know. Let's see if I can boost it real quick. Another way. This has got to be the boringest thing when this happens.
That's the beauty of a live show.
No, that's not what we want.
Whoa.
That's scary.
I heard the feedback too.
Yeah, how's your volume low and I hear it really loud? You just dropped out of here. So, yeah, that is kind of how it's back to the subject. It has due to the media giving these racists a constant megaphone. It's they're more bold now.
Plus, the cops always protect them.
That's true.
So, you know, I mean, shit. I could have 5 pals, and we could be assholes, and we could go out and fuck shit up. But we know that 3 or 4 cops that we hang out with are working tonight. Psst, we don't give a fuck. No, it's the same type of thing. It's that easy, you know?
You know, I wish Skype was that easy. Oh man, what's going on here? This is really ridiculous.
Well, I don't know what happened. My call just dropped. I don't think I had any bandwidth issues. It just decided to drop.
Is Glenn any better now? Anybody listening? Maybe that at least helped a little. Okay, nobody's answering. So, so hopefully, what I just did was I put you onto the same channel that I'm on, so we're both coming through, and you sound a little better to me. So,
All right.
hopefully, hopefully,
I mean, does this 13% seem noticeable in California?
we can hear Glenn. Okay, he's just quieter than me. I can't turn me down without turning Glenn down, so that sucks.
Okay, hang on. Okay, I just put my mic higher. Did
Hopefully,
that help?
hopefully that helps. Well, I don't know where I'm at. Not really. It doesn't seem more, but maybe if you were in Orange County or Riverside or something, it's
Yeah.
always been kind of bad there. Like over there, I mean, out here it's like they can't even get 20 people together to do something, and they're outnumbered.
Yeah.
But things do happen. I mean, you've seen videos of people on buses flipping out on people for their race and stuff. Um, but yeah, I think all over it's happening more and more.
Well,
They're just emboldened right now.
the reason I ask is because, this says 13%. Well, you go other states in the union and it's more like 113. So,
Yeah.
I mean, January 29th, Tuesday, was the second anniversary of the mosque shooting in Quebec City, where 6 people were killed because they were praying by a radicalized white boy. And in that city, since that happened, there's been, quite a change. A lot of people have come out and they're determined to find out, exactly why this happened, not just this guy did it. He's fucked up. They're not interested in that stuff. They want to prevent another one more than anything. But yet at the same time, hate crimes since that massacre are up in those 2 years by nearly 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
So, that doesn't make any sense.
well, you got these pro-America people who are pro-Trump, and Trump spews hatred and racism nonstop. I mean, I told you before, we've talked about it. When you go to those rallies, they don't love America, quote unquote. They're not national. I mean, they might be nationalists, but what they really are is Trumpists. They love Trump.
Yeah, it's a cult.
I mean, they have Trump shirts, Trump flags, Trump this, Trump that. And yeah, it's connected to America because Trump, quote unquote, loves America, but they're there for Trump.
Yeah,
The it's a different kind of patriotism.
it's a cult of
Yeah,
personality.
yeah, it is.
Again, it's like North Korea. What's the difference?
What's the difference? As crazy looking as Kim Jong Un is, he still has way more style than Trump. Trump looks like some weird, I don't know what that is. The hair and the wife and the little hands and the big tie, and it's just crazy, man. Like at least Kim Jong Un, yeah, he has got a funny haircut, but he looks human. These other ones, they don't look too human. Like if they waited to bring up the lizard people conspiracy to when Trump took office, a lot more people would be believing that. I mean, the Queen is a good one, but then all the other people, Trump looks like he could not be human. So they
McConnell's a tortoise.
well, yeah, but that's not an alien. That's a friendly animal that we just want to kick when it's him.
But there could be tortoise people, like there's lizard people.
That's true. I didn't think about that. The shape-shifting tortoise people.
Yeah,
Yeah. They
we'll
don't
leave that to we'll
they
leave that to Alex Jones.
well, just real quick, on their planet they don't breed, so he's the only one.
Ooh,
I don't
and
need
what's
it
his life? What's his lifespan? A couple thousand years?
at least. He's never not existed. I mean, look at him.
Well, this is starting to sound pretty cute.
Yeah. That's what I thought you said cute.
No,
Yeah. Now I feel insulted. Hey, I'm gonna say it again. That guy's a genius. That Q guy is a genius. He found a group of suckers, like you know how they say there's one born every minute. P.T. Barnum said that. And he's got merchandise up there. He's making so much money off these people. I don't think he really believes any of that stuff. I think he just found a gullible group of people. He could make them do stuff for like, the lulz, and he can get paid off them.
yeah, well, he's certainly not the only one. Look into somebody named Jordan Peterson. Same thing.
Oh, is that the guy that hates women or something? Or am I thinking of someone else?
He hates everything.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, we had a good discussion about him on Wednesday's show as well. Nora described Jordan Peterson pretty as well as anybody I've heard do it, and all he is the new world salesman for status quo. And he's just using all this gobbledygook language to a whole new generation of people who spent, at this point, probably half their lives or more in some kind of education. So they think, look at all this, look at all this student debt I have. Fuck, I must be smart. And they listen to the same old bullshit about you should be happy that capital rules your life and conform and shut the fuck up, except he's using a new language to do it. And they've never heard it before. Again, this millennial is the most highly educated and knowledgeable that's the wrong word, access to knowledge generation there's ever been. And in Canada, they just did a survey, and 50% of millennials had no idea what the Holocaust is.
Where was this at? 50% where?
In Canada,
Wow, really?
of millennials, no idea.
Yeah, that's still shocking.
Yeah, like, not to get into the semantics of the Holocaust, but I just don't understand how you could go through 15 years of school and not be familiar with it.
I mean, you said they didn't know what it was. You didn't say they were denying. They never heard of it. That's
Yeah,
insane to me. I can't even imagine that.
yeah, they don't know anything about it.
So when I hear something about Trump is kind of doing things like Hitler sometimes, who do they think they're talking about? Just some random person?
Some dude from World War II, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. So, I mean, this is also part of how this shit is sold. It just, like Nora said, millennials have access to more knowledge than any generation ever, and they also seem to have about the less curiosity about it as any other generation ever.
Wow.
Sad,
That's
but
crazy.
that's how this shit keeps coming back. I mean, like we talked about the Depression. And in Canada, in the Depression, there were 70,000 unemployed men that were put into work camps by the federal government to keep them off the streets so they could keep an eye on them and pay them slavery wages. And they thought that would be a good way to control unrest. But what happened was they put all these, young men with no future into camps. And they turned into super mega organizing hubs. It was like the maximum security prisons these days.
Jeez. Yeah.
We know who runs the joint. And they disbanded them because they actually created a bigger security threat than they thought they had to begin with. And it's the same thing now, except those guys are all fucking farmers and whatever else. They're going to sell Fuller brushes like daddy. But now the millennials are in the same place, and they are 1,000 times more educated than those guys were. But they have the same deal. Now they're how much money in debt for their education? They can't get them a job.
Yeah.
But they're buying the same old shit in a new packaging.
It's not even that new. It's just a little twist to it. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
but just change the language enough
I blame
to make.
YouTube for this.
Oh, I blame Google for everything. No problem.
Yeah. I mean, I have things like Ghetto Spider-Man walking into stores and dancing. How can they really how can they get any useful information? It's crazy.
Don't worry, if there's anything useful out there, Facebook will stop it.
He'll stop it. Yeah, that's crazy. Any news off subject on a tangent? Any new news on this whole net neutrality thing happening kind of nowish?
Now I've seen some calls for people to call the FCC, but I mean, none of that shit matters to me being
Uh,
outside the States. I mean, the EFF is on it. Fight for the Future is on it. There's a few other organizations that are trying to get people motivated for it. But yeah, this is the window to contact them.
yeah. I always forget these things don't affect you, Glenn.
Well, they do and they don't. I mean, what is it still? 60 to 70% of the internet traffic in the world goes through the United States.
Yeah, but not
And we know.
not not yours.
Yeah, sure.
Oh man. Oh, I don't know if I should announce this now or wait for a big build up, but Nick's got an avatar on the speaker chat. So Good job. She announced she got an avatar.
Oh, I gotta scroll back.
Yeah.
Uh,
See? It's too small for me to see it. Is it like a little person with a dog?
Hang on, I gotta zoom
It might
here.
be the Phoenix 420 logo. All right, this is a real tangent here. Big news.
It says, "Don't forget them."
Oh, I can just see it looks like a person with a dog. It's really tiny on my screen. But anyway, moving right along.
Yeah, it's Phoenix.
Okay, it's Phoenix 420. Are we done with the hate crimes?
Well, we didn't really say much. I mean, I really don't know what there is to say. I mean,
Yeah, oh, we didn't, what we didn't talk about was how can we get it to stop? But I don't know if there's really an answer to that. Beside of just smashing racists in their faces as soon as you see them, till they're too scared to come out and be racist anymore. But then you just have a whole bunch of closet racists. You don't know whose face to smash.
well, I think it's also, having the effect that a lot of groups are in favor of, that the people who are normal Americans, they're not, you know, racist per se. They don't have it in for some group. They're just, we do what we do. You guys do what you do. The more shit like this gets made into a huge deal, I mean, there's something else you got to remember. When something does go wrong and somebody's killed or hurt or there's tear gas or whatever, it doesn't matter if it's in a place like Chicago or Los Angeles or if it's in Belt Buckle, Louisiana. It makes it onto the news. And it's just spreading this image that it's everywhere. And it gets more people to withdraw, more people to not get involved, to stopping it. They're just withdrawing.
From what, fear?
Fear, or they just like me, what I say. I will never enter the United States again because I'm not going anywhere where at any given moment, anywhere, you could get shot. Because that's the way I see the United States. That's just my personal opinion of it.
Well, I mean, you
There's,
could not get shot too. It's like 50-50, Glenn.
yeah, well, that's not good enough odds for me. Sorry. I will stick to the 99.5 to point 0.5 that I have up here.
I was being
50.
I was being sarcastic. Like it's like you're not gonna get shot. Well, I mean, I can't say that with all certainty, but most likely you're not gonna get shot.
Yeah, and
Wait,
this is the same week where now officially there's no motive for the Las Vegas massacre.
wait.
Oh well,
I didn't hear about this. What? There's no motive.
no motive. We're done. There's no motive.
There had to be a motive.
Oh, apparently not. We're done.
There's never
Next.
not a motive, especially if you plan something like that. That wasn't some kind of spur of the moment, just kill them all thing, was it? I mean, it seemed kind of premeditated to me.
See, that just shows you how ridiculous this environment is. Look at all the weapons, the planning, the everything. No motive. People are supposed to believe this?
Well, I mean, if they had built that wall, he wouldn't have been able to do that. Yeah, that's crazy.
I didn't know Chuck Todd was on the show today.
I think I think that I think that there's a motive definitely. They just couldn't figure it out.
So why? I mean, that just tells you something, though. Why wouldn't they say that we just can't figure this out? Because there was a time when they would do that. Now they can't. They have no motive. So that sends a message. Somewhere, there's some fucking whack job that thinks, I will have a legacy because I won't be, you know,
Yeah.
I won't be this hater who is bent on this or that. I'll just say, yeah, I did it, but we don't know why.
Could have
It's
been hatred. Could
ridiculous.
have been hatred of country music. That's kind of an extreme thing to do, though.
You would think that some Muslim would hate country music, not him.
I think a lot of people hate country music. We just suppress it and don't kill a lot of people. We just be like, no, thank you. We're not going to listen to it. But I don't know. I mean, there has to be some kind of motive, even if it's a ridiculous motive. I mean, or I just want to go slaughter a bunch of people or something. I don't know what the motive would be, but I'm saying there's never not a motive when you plan something like that.
Well,
If he had just been walking through with a gun and maybe pushed somebody or got agitated, and maybe there's no motive other than he flipped out. I don't know, but that seemed really to get all those weapons up there and get it all lined up to the right room, and that just seemed like there had to be some kind of motive.
but that's my point, man. This is what they sell. Everybody's supposed to say, oh, okay, and move on.
Well, I mean, there's nothing you can do if they don't know the motive, but you're right. They should say we just don't know.
Yep. I mean, it's not an accident that they're saying there was no motive. That's a political decision made by somebody somewhere.
So you saying you think there was a motive that they don't want to tell you what it was because it would maybe it's one of those MAGA things or something or whatever political, or do you think they just generally don't know what the? I think they just generally don't know what the motive was. What do you
I
think?
don't, well, I think that there's some power that doesn't want to know. It's going to have something to do with it. And it's not whether there is or there isn't, or they know or they don't know. My problem is saying there was no motive.
Yeah,
That's my problem. That's insane.
yeah, there had to be a motive.
I mean, you go to the store, you have a motive. You're going for something. Everything has a fucking motive.
Oh, that's true.
There's a purpose to, anything. May not be productive, but that's another issue. You
Yeah.
know, it's just ridiculous. And they say no motive, and they report it. Now sports. Bullshit.
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't hear anything about that. They charged that. I heard. Didn't they charge that guy? I can't think of his name. The guy that went to New York with the knives to kill black people because he wanted to start a race war or something. And then they caught him. They charged him with some kind of act of terror.
Oh yeah.
So that's a good thing, I guess. Finally.
He must have crossed state lines or something.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I think it was because he said he wanted to. He went specifically to kill black people to start some kind of race war or something.
And black people in a state that he wasn't in.
Yeah, maybe that's
Yeah.
part of it too. Whatever it is, it's good. Finally, they're calling some one of these crazy
Yep.
white right wing whack jobs a terrorist.
Because I remember even back with the Oklahoma City bomb, to get those guys on terror charges, it had to do with shit coming across state lines. So yeah, that's part of it. That's always something that gets the federal Department of Justice all over it, across state lines.
Oh, I see. Hmm.
Feds.
Federales. So yeah, I don't think there's any. I mean, I don't think there's
What?
any way to stop it within the system the way it is, unless they start changing laws saying um, it's illegal for just basically treating them like the terrorists they are, like they would anybody else. But they don't. They're not going to do that. The media won't do it. The government won't do it.
Well, that's just it. The government won't do it, and everybody knows it. And the money and the influence continues to get more people of the same school of thought installed in positions of power everywhere, from the County Reeve to the fucking White House. So, I mean, again, that's something else Nora and I talked about last Wednesday, and we're talking about Doug Ford in Ontario. Until he gets stopped and slapped and has to step back, the pace is only going to get faster. They'll try and tear down and wreck and sell off as much as they can until they get caught.
Yeah.
That seems to be the common thing with all these different countries, with all these different governments that aren't supposed to be doing the same thing, but they pretty much are.
And when they get caught, it's just a slap on the wrist generally.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be something big. It has to be like what's happened in France.
Yeah.
That's what it fucking takes. And like happened in South Korea. Nobody talks about how South Korea demonstrations finished with the South Korean president in prison. But you don't hear much about that over here.
Yeah.
And Malaysia, same thing. Thailand, everybody,
You need more people to get out. These people won't do anything.
Exactly.
When it's
Those people
okay.
got out in their fucking streets.
Yeah, like this weekend there's gonna be all these people out all over the place for a dang sporting event. But for justice and freedom, nah, not so much. But let some
Yep.
billionaires playing with balls. That's what we're all about. Or millionaires, whatever they are, playing with overpaid athletes playing with balls and beer commercials. Yay! That's what we're all gonna go out for.
And tits and ass.
We'll spend money. We'll go out. We'll do all kinds of stuff for this. But when it comes to our lives and the futures of generations to come, who cares? We're not gonna go out for that.
There's not a 3-hour pregame for that. So, no, it's not an issue.
Yeah, there's no celebrity singing in the middle of it. Yeah, it's way out, man. I don't understand these people.
It's all about the money, man.
Hmm.
And it's in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Wow.
America! Oh, yeah. Fuck.
I just have one last question. I don't know. I'm wondering about the Turkish flags around the Armenian school. Like, that doesn't really scream white supremacy to me.
No, but it screams genocide.
Well, yeah, definitely. I'm just saying that's like that's something I haven't seen. Um, it just it seems like really mean and trollish and horrible. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like not, I don't know. I'm wondering.
Fascist.
Yeah, fascism is fascism. But yeah, I'm wondering if that's one of like Erdogan's little buddies, not buddies like they know him, but you know what I mean, like supporters, just trying to be a jerk.
Well, it's got to be, or else it's being used. I mean, this is something else that people forget about. But I mean, I've done things like this in my life. And if you have a problem with somebody or a group of people and you want to fuck with them, then you attack them and make it look like it's their traditional enemy. So, what's the land value of where this Armenian school is?
I don't
What's
know.
around it,
Oh, you think it's something just to? I see what you're saying.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy.
Something purposeful for a reason. So
Yeah,
someone gains from it or something. That's a
right.
possibility too, I guess. It just doesn't seem. It just doesn't seem like um. It doesn't really fit in with all the other stuff going on. It seems more rare.
Well, I just hope it stays rare.
Yeah, that's troubling. It's just kind of random. Like I haven't heard of that happening before. It could have happened and I've never heard of it. I mean, a lot, but I mean, recently I haven't heard of a lot of. I've heard of people fighting and protests and Turks and Armenians getting into it, over other stuff, but that's just weird. It just doesn't scream MAGA to me like the other stuff.
No, but it does scream Erdogan's AK party,
Yeah,
you know? And I'm sure there is a Turkish consulate in Los Angeles.
yeah, definitely there is. It's been
So,
protested at before.
hey, you never know, man.
Hmm. Well, sticking with the subject of people, these two crazy cults of Democrats and Republicans are once again trying to peddle their fascist corporate candidates to the citizens of the U.S. What would it take for a new party to rise up, not influenced by corporate money, but in favor of the people's needs? Or would this even be possible? Like a people's party?
If Citizens United is not repealed by an act of Congress, no,
It's impossible then, yeah.
it's impossible. That's step one. Step two is enough people actually giving a fuck.
Yeah, but I mean, what if you just had a bunch of people running as independents at first?
Well, that's fine because, that's something that I always like to drill into people too, how things have changed. There was no big parties when anybody's country started.
Yeah.
It was independent people that came from different areas to get together and try and get shit done. And the thing about Canada, the first, I don't know how many elections we had, there were no parties at all. And everybody who won a seat, they all went to Ottawa and then they met for 2 days and then they decided who was going to run the show. I wish we still had that. I really do.
I mean, because I honestly, me, I'm not into politicians either way. They're a bunch of lying scum. But like Cortez or something, like she's probably the best of the worst, right? So if she had run as an independent, I probably would have took her more seriously than running as a Democrat.
No, but the issue is in the current system, you simply cannot run on a ticket unless you're red or blue. You're
But that
not going to get anywhere.
but then once you go to blue, you're part of a corporatist,
Yeah,
fascist, terrible thing. I mean, that's all I'm saying is not you're a part of something horrible.
that's true. But would you rather she wasn't there? She stayed home. I
Uh,
mean, this is the give and take here.
I don't think it's going to matter either way because anybody could be there and anyone will do the same thing eventually. I look at Bernie Sanders. He just talks. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't get anything done. He still votes for wars. He still does all the terrible stuff. It's just he's a real good talker about this and that. And once in a while he might do something cool. Is that really what like that is? We're just trying to find someone that just once in a while might do something cool and talks really good because that's what she's going to end up being if she sticks with that stupid party. I believe she doesn't know that, but that's what always happens.
Yeah, but you're taking into account some things that just can't be predicted either. I mean, the take is for, 3 or 4 extremely rich people.
I lost you again, Glenn.
Oh, really?
That's what Stuart said in the chat. Yeah, guys, we're really sorry about the technical difficulties. Um,
Fuck.
Says he can't hear me either. Wow. I'm
Well,
gonna.
we can hear each other.
It says we're recording still. I want. Let's just keep going because maybe it'll come out on the archive, and we're almost done anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um,
No, the archive will be there for sure.
if any, well, hopefully we'll be on it. I don't know what these audio problems we're having are. Oh wait, we're both back now. There we go. Yeah, Spectrum's horrible internet and Skype sucks, so we got kind of two things going against us here.
But all I'm saying is you can't predict that far into the future anymore. Who's going to stay, who's going to go, what's going to happen, you know? And again, something else that I always like to think about, the big leadership of both of the parties in the US, they're not young. And all it takes is, you know, one or two deaths in a certain amount of time and everything changes. Because that's the way the US is built these days. Oligarchy.
Yeah, but do you really, really believe that one of these people will change everything? Say, you know what, I'm not going to take the money. I don't know. There's in the Democratic Party. That's always been a party, much like the
No,
Republican Party, that just takes money from corporations and laughs at the people who vote them in.
yeah, but that's not the way I'm looking at it. What if died? Who would know the details and have the authority to keep moving all that money around? What if that money disappeared even for 6 months? That would be enough time for things to fundamentally change. You know,
Yeah,
what if Sheldon Adelson had a real problem with Trump and left funding the Republican Party? It would change the entire country politically. This is what's wrong with the system in the United States. That's what Citizens United has done. So, you know, it's not necessarily to find people that are going to fight the system, fuck up the system. That's probably, I think, you get much faster results. If all of this money suddenly disappeared for one election cycle, things would change.
yeah. Stewart in the chat is saying, would the establishment let individuals change anything? No. Well, but this no, but the thing is, these individuals become the establishment when they get
Yeah,
elected into it. That's my problem. Like I'm saying, what if she had run as a? I know you're saying she wouldn't have won because she wouldn't have the money behind her, which is ridiculous. They need to take all that money out of everything and let people run however they want. But if she had run as an independent, I was saying I'd respect her more because now she doesn't have to bow down to the Democrats.
well, she does and she doesn't. I mean,
No,
is
I
she
mean I
going
said as an independent she wouldn't.
No, but you're saying remaining a Democrat, then she has to follow all their rules. Not necessarily. That's up to her if she's willing to pay the price. But I mean, considering all the fanfare she came with, it would make no sense for her to not be able to address the House for the entire first 6 months she was there. And it's the party whip who decides who talks and who doesn't. So why would she immediately come in there and shit on everything? Because then nobody's going to get to hear her, and it's going to kill her brand. It's going to kill her message.
Yeah.
This is just playing the game, you know? I mean, she just got to the House of Representatives. People that want to make a snap judgment on her work so far in a government that's been fucking shut down for most of the time she's been in it is just jumping the gun. It's not accurate.
I wasn't I wasn't knocking what she's done. I mean what she says sounds good until she goes back on a lot of things, but or backpedals. But the whole thing is the Democrat thing's what bothers me about her. Nothing else. It's just that whole thing. I mean, Why do people run as Republicans or Democrats? It's like they should just have their parties and they should say, we're different. We're going to run as independent because we care about the people. You can't, in my mind, you can't run for either one of those parties and make me believe you care about me or anybody out here.
That's because they've become nothing but machines of money. That's, again, that's what Citizens United has put into stone.
I know money is free speech. I mean, money is speech.
Money is power. Period. Because you can buy speech, obviously.
Yeah.
You can buy opinion. You can buy loyalty. You can buy an illusion. And you can sell an illusion. But, I mean, yeah, I get it. But, like I said, if she wanted to be an absolute anti-establishment voice, don't worry, they'll shut her up. The press won't cover her if she's not playing the game right,
Yeah.
Because what network would do a one-on-one interview with renegade independent House member Ocasio-Cortez and then expect to get interviews with Pelosi? It just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. It's sad.
It shouldn't be like that, though.
No, it shouldn't.
The problem is the people who need it to be like that for their own profit are the ones who can make it not be like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, always. But, that's the game, man. That's what's wrong.
Yeah, you got these Democrats and Republicans, and they're just. I always say that the only time the politicians tell the truth is during election time when they're bashing each other.
No, they're not even telling the truth then.
That's when they're the most honest, though, because they're like, this person's terrible, and the other one's, this person's terrible. You know what they are? They're both terrible.
Yeah, but again, those are just attack points. It's not, nobody's in a court of law. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but I just feel like that's more honest. You can look at your opponent and show the world what crap they are, or they're showing what crap you are. And the stupid people aren't thinking. The stupid people are like, yeah, this one's better. They're not thinking like this one's just less crap than the other one.
That's because it's America. We have to win. So who won? It's not two losers. One is a bigger loser. Somebody has to win. Because if nobody wins, it's no fun.
Trump's winning bigly, or at least he keeps saying he is.
Tremendous.
Why does he talk like that? He just has his whole mouth pushed forward and he looks weird. He has that little blank stare on his face.
I just think about all the stories about Hitler being injected with speed and doing cocaine and all this stuff to keep himself going without absolutely flipping out and melting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing, kind of like Elvis towards the end. Just, what do I have to do? What pill do I take for that?
So, Glenn, on record, you're predicting they're going to find Trump on a toilet.
Or in a toilet.
Or in a toilet. There you go.
Or maybe a Russian prostitute will be looking for a toilet. No, that's different.
Man. I want that part. I want that part of the dossier to be real. Because that would just be so funny. That would be like the epitome of the United States. The president and two Russian prostitutes peeing on a bed. America. I would get that and I put like the national anthem behind it or something.
Which one, Russia or the U.S.?
The United States, of course. With a lot of water sounds, like
Oh, like the soundtrack for the one they used to play when TV stations went off the air at the end of the programming day.
Yeah.
Show the seashore and a lighthouse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, America.
Yeah. That's it.
But again, the biggest thing, a new anything. What's it take? It takes people. It takes commitment. It takes effort.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's another part of the game, too. We make sure that nobody else can get established. It's like any other industry.
Yeah.
Because really, politics is a fucking industry. It's like anything else. I mean, look at the internet. You got Microsoft and Apple.
Yeah.
And you got Google. You got Yahoo. And really, who else is still up there with those two?
Bing.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Bing, yeah. Microsoft's part of it.
DuckDuckGo.
Yeah, not just for search engines, but I mean for like email
Oh,
and
yeah.
Messenger and shit like, oh yeah, I just got my emails that Google Plus is dying. Haha. And it's no different. Anybody who's a threat, who has a better idea, they get bought out. And their ideas get absorbed or their ideas disappear.
Yeah.
One or the other. So why should politics be any different from the way this quote unquote capitalism works?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Someone's got to burn down both them parties, man.
Well, the only way it's going to work is if enough people get involved. And don't see it happening.
So, yeah. It's because of everyone here listening right now that's from the United States. You're the reason. I'm ashamed to have you as a listener. And the
You
Pope,
too, Pope.
no, the Pope's not from the United States. He doesn't get a vote, does he?
He's the Pope.
Yeah, but if he votes, that would be like an illegal voting, quote unquote, as Trump says, right? You can't do that.
No, he's a super delegate.
He doesn't even speak English.
Sure he does.
Really? Does he speak it good?
Better than Trump.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's not saying much.
Well,
Trump,
that's the
Trump's
standard.
Trump's wife, who can't speak English for crap, speaks English better than Trump. What's her name? Melanoma or something.
I sure hope those kidneys on her chest get better.
I don't know, man. Those are some weird looking people. The Trumps. Like, if you seen those people walking down the street with all that surgery and the hair and all, you'd be like, what the hell are these things? Why would they do that to themselves? But they're like totally normalized. They act as insane and creepy as they look. That's the weird thing.
They are idolized.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't want to get it.
You don't have to get it.
Every time I see Ivanka, I just automatically see what she looked like when she was a young teenager, and it ain't the same person.
Yeah,
I mean,
surgified.
there's just nothing genuine about these people at all. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
It's way out. I don't know. I really just can't call it. Why would they just? He does it on purpose. The hair, the tie, all that. It's intentional. Like, it's just weird. The surgery make him look all whatever's wrong with his eyes, and he has that white ring around him, like a reverse raccoon. That's insane, man. But yeah, I don't know. I think we've covered all the topics. We're on a tangent. Am I correct?
Yes.
Cool. You have anything else you want to add to them?
I think something else to keep in mind. I'm starting to think that the Mueller investigation is not going to drop any real bombs until this fall, because that's the perfect time for people to decide if they'll be running again. And I think we're going to see an awful lot of people retire from DC before the 2020 elections. It's going to be either that or you're going to end up testifying. So that could have a big change too
Yeah,
about the parties themselves. Because when a lot of these people leave the party, it's a personal relationship they've built with these consistent donors to their party.
yeah,
So when they leave, the money leaves. And it's going to change, a fair amount. I mean,
you don't think
it's
those donors are going to come right back in with some new,
not
different?
necessarily.
Hmm,
Not necessarily, because this happens up here too. And when a leadership of a party changes, especially a party that's in power, people will sit out for this one. Let's see if the new boy can cut it. You have to earn our money now because we don't know you.
yeah.
That's the way it works.
Hmm.
And as we saw in the last year before the last presidential election, shit can happen pretty fast.
Yeah, maybe we can get rid of all the Pelosi's and Trumps and, well, we got rid of Paul Ryan, McConnell's, and all them evil, terrible Schumers and all of them. Just get rid of them and maybe, I don't know. I just really feel like if you're going into those parties, you have to basically believe what that party stands for. But maybe with that happening, an independent party can come and rise some kind of way. Who knows?
It's just going to be a matter of getting enough people who are willing to try and redo the party or destroy the party if that's what it takes. You need enough of those people on the inside. And there's only a red invitation and a blue invitation to the dance. That's it. So it just depends on if there's enough people of like mind who are at the dance. And that depends on more people who have a different mindset actually going through with it and getting nominated and campaigning and winning, just like Ocasio-Cortez did.
Wow.
But, I mean, what is there? 500 and some members of the House in D.C.?
Yeah, there's a lot.
So every one of them is up every 2 years. So what if there was 120 Ocasio-Cortez that went to Washington? It can be done. But it's going to take a lot of fucking work.
So you're saying the only option is to change within a party?
Well, no, I'm saying just get in.
Yeah.
Get in. Because,
Oh, then they can get a fan base built up basically and then run independent next time or something.
well, the other thing they can do is if there's enough of them, if they are the majority of the Democratic caucus, then effectively, on the floor, they are the Democratic Party. So they can actually change the way shit is done.
So it's going to be
It's not,
another shift in the party.
well,
I mean, that's all you could hope for, I guess, right?
the way the system works, yeah, it is. I mean, That's the other thing, too. I mean, the presidential election is actually 51 separate elections run by the states and D.C.
Yeah.
and Puerto Rico. They all have different fucking rules. They have different polling hours. They have different number of polls for population. They have different people on the ballots. So you wonder how this system gets fucked with? Like, come on. It's a vote for the leader of the entire country. And there are 51 different sets of rules for that vote. It's fucked up.
Yeah. It's just the parties I don't see them have gone too far. They claim they flip, but like you had the Democrats were the party of the KKK, and now they're the party of super predators. The Republicans were the party of black people shouldn't be, well, we don't want to keep black people slaves, but they're definitely not equal to now the party of the KKK. So, there's not that much.
No, there's not. That's because they answer to who pays their bills.
Yeah.
And the people who pay their bills are quite fine with the 19th century. Because that's when they had the least opposition.
To quote Trump, sad.
Tremendously sad.
Tremendously sad. Bigly sad.
The biggest sad you've ever seen.
Beautiful sadness. Beautiful. So yeah, I guess we're gonna go ahead and end here, and hopefully you'll be back on our whimsical show. That's not really no pre planning. If you're not gonna be on the View Up here once or twice throughout February during your hiatus.
Good word. No, that's true. That is a plus for the People's Weekly. There is no preparation required.
Yeah, you just have to be awake. That's about it. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next week, and there'll be music to riot to before that. And talk to you soon, Glenn.
All right, man.